Okay, this is a work session for Parks Board on September 4th, 2025. So basically, we're going to discuss 2025 and 2026 end-of-year spending and possible encumbrances that we could take action on in our public meeting, and anything else that we want to kind of get updates on before our public meeting. We have the projects and purchases list in our meeting packet under number A. And so I think Mindy had a chance to meet with both subcommittees over the past 2 weeks to kind of get everyone up to speed on possible projects and to narrow down this list so that we can discuss it in our work session today as a group. Okay, so do you want to just go through, does everyone just want to kind of go through the items one by one?
Yeah,
and then we can
do it.
You know, we're not taking action on anything, we're just going to kind of discuss them, and then, you know, we'll kind of revisit this in the public meeting after and, you know, take final action. Okay, so number one is an enclosed trailer, and we had a couple quotes on an enclosed trailer, and I think the need for this was that there's no permanent space for some of the equipment, including mowers, for the winter season, and this is going to help with storage of that and just, you know, kind of moving those items around. So we had two quotes on the enclosed trailer. One was from Line-X Equipment Trailer, and that was $13,750, and then we had a second quote. Where was that quote from? I know that one just came up.
From Forget the Tow.
Okay, and Dave, you kind of...
Yeah, I just bought a trailer from them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. And that one came in at $10,711.
What is the size of the trailer?
They're 18-footers, both.
And they would fit two mowers?
It would fit two mowers and basic equipment with racks for weed was for daily operations for the parks, like maintenance-wise.
Thank you.
Okay. Item number 2 is a dump truck trailer. We had also two quotes on this, an 83 by 16 Liberty heavy-duty dump trailer from Line-X was $16,000, and the second estimate, is that from the same company?
Correct.
Okay. And that one was at $12,600. Is that the same dimensions, 83 by 16?
Specs were spec'd out in exactly the same between both trailers when I went to update the quote with the new vendor opportunity.
Okay. And Josh, can you kind of just talk about how that's going to help you guys and create efficiencies?
Let me talk a little bit on it. So, with our projects that keep expanding with rock and mulch and dirt projects that we keep doing every month and keeps progressing towards that, we're finding that we get to share a lot with Public Works with their dump trucks, but again, a lot of us don't have CDLs, so we're limited to 4 trucks over there. And I mean, a lot of times we need, like our tractor, 955 tractor, it can't reach up into the trucks. It can't, we have no way to dump things unless we're doing it by hand.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, this is kind of like a cheaper way of a dump truck, but with a trailer.
Yeah.
It's more cost-friendly than getting a whole truck that dumps. I mean, this is the next best thing for us. We're kind of small doing dumping projects, but this would be a great step towards...
Mm-hmm. Possibly be able to do more projects in-house.
Right.
May I add a little to this?
Yeah.
So the crew's doing tree work in our park spaces. That's been handed off to them to you know, clean limbs and debris in the fall months. And like today, I saw them hauling with just an equipment trailer, a whole trailer of limbs. It's in an equipment trailer, which means that they have to offload into the Public Works versus just dump and go. So there's a lot of manpower with just those kind of things. You know, we had a whole equipment trailer full of branches going to Public Works today.
3 loads
ended up with 3.
equipment trailer going to Public Works.
So this was kind of a resolve to not buying a dump truck, but having the equipment to do the things and not depend heavily on Public Works for all equipment.
You know, Josh, this particular trailer, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you can actually put equipment in it too, right?
Correct, all of our equipment will fit into the dump trailer. Tractor, mowers if need to, is also spec'd out for skid steer to fit in there that we use often.
Right.
So this
So
is-
if you need to go to a job, you can actually put the skid steer in the trailer, take it to the job, which you could not do if you had a dump truck. You'd still have to have a separate trailer, a separate, you know.
Right, our current trailers can't even haul a skid steer. Our tractor's the max for these
Okay.
equipment trailers. So
Right.
This dump trailer is a multi-functional tool.
Yep.
So do they have a wood deck,
No, it's metal.
metal deck?
Yeah, it's a metal box pretty much that dumps. Just like a dump truck bed, it's just on a trailer.
Oh, okay.
And
Open top.
I know you probably haven't had a chance to look at the two options based on the ones we have here. I'm sure you never had that chance, but they're spec'd out the same, I would assume, you know, for the money.
Right, I mean, yeah, they're pretty much, they're just like a different brand. It's pretty
Yeah,
much
yeah,
what
so-
it comes down to.
Okay.
There's a little bit different on the warranties on the dump trailer. The one from Linex is a 3-year warranty, sorry, 5-year warranty, and the one from Forget to Tow is a 3-year warranty for structural warranty only. That's the only thing they really warranty on these trailers.
It's a structure.
Right, but it's a limited warranty, so it depends on what they think is
Right.
the warranty. So I just want to put that out there.
Okay.
Okay. Number 3 is the walking path town grounds phase 1. And we also received 2 quotes on this project. One from St. John Paving for $80,000 and one from Site Services for $84,235. Mindy, can you kind of talk about what phase 1 is?
Sure,
for our
so phase
knowledge?
1 is taking the midway next to the park office and creating a loop system, a 6-foot wide asphalt walking path with 6 inches of stone, 2.5 inches of asphalt, and creating walkability in that space. It was quoted as phase 1 and phase 2 because we have some possible building movements happening and we just really weren't sure how phase 2 would factor in, and so we separated it because we're just kind of waiting for town grounds to get the comprehensive plan, you know, in play. So number 3 is just considering from Midway up to Moore Street and the perimeter of the property.
Gail and I had a conversation with Mindy about this phase 1. There were some things that we didn't particularly like about it that it'd be nice to talk to you guys about since we're all here together.
Yeah.
Do we happen to have a map of that here or no?
I don't think it was uploaded with all the documents for the meeting.
Okay.
Is it in an old email?
It would be in the email that, the memo email
Yeah, okay,
with
yeah.
all the projects
Mm-hmm.
on town grounds memo email. But Dave, yeah, I think that this would be a good opportunity to you know, explain a little bit like where we thought maybe that it should stop
Yeah.
and what we could do to beef up.
Yeah.
Right.
So one of the things that Mindy, I think, brought up was beefing it up for that back entrance or the back exit off the property, you know, to put in a heavier bed underneath the asphalt in case it was going to be used as an exit for activities,
Mhm.
not necessarily people.
Mhm.
I mean, although it could be, but
Like Summerfest and the heavier,
right.
trailers and stuff
Vendors
that come
and
in.
stuff, you know,
Yeah.
if they come in one way, at least they can get out. It doesn't have to be, you know.
Mhm.
So that I thought was a good idea. And Gail, I think, brought up the fact that, you know, we don't particularly like the idea of it going behind those buildings, which is where it's drawn now.
Mhm.
You know, we'd love to see those buildings disappear,
Mhm.
with the exception, obviously, of the bathroom.
Mhm.
So our position was we end the path right there in front of those buildings, and the people can still walk across the pavement that's there to get to the midway.
Okay.
But I also think that that first part of the project should extend all the way to the lake shore on the backside. Because then we can create a complete loop, even though we haven't done that second phase.
Like on the yacht club side?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So instead of going behind the buildings, you stop it early, take that pavement,
Mhm.
not gonna be enough, but, you know, move it to the back. So from the end of that midway over to the lake shore,
So at least there's, it
It's a
won't be a
complete
full
loop.
loop? Okay, it is, yeah, it would be a complete
because they
loop,
could
yeah.
walk up the path for the,
Mhm.
you know, the hotel, they could come up into the parking lot where the bathroom is, and then connect right back on onto that path. And that would be until the next phase, which they could iron out the details.
Mhm.
Are you getting your bulldozer ready?
Oh, you have no idea. If you told me I could be here tomorrow with it, I'd be here tomorrow.
I bet Josh would like that job too.
Oh, yeah,
Bulldozing action.
that's right, yeah.
So that's what we
No,
thought
that, yeah,
about.
okay, I can picture, I
Yeah, as far as the layout
I can
goes.
picture that, yeah.
You know, because if we ended at the midway, then it would just be the small loop.
Yeah, yeah, you
But it
really
would be
wanna
so
have
nice.
some access to,
Yeah, if you could get to the lakefront, I think that's the money shot,
Mhm.
you know? And if they wanted to cut it short, they could take a smaller loop if they wanted a smaller loop, but, you know,
Yeah.
the bigger loop,
yeah.
certainly I think is a
Mhm.
better option. No problem with that. So it probably means we have to tweak the bid a little bit, but, if we encumber the money, would we be encumbering it for both or one? One
Just for
or-
phase one,
Okay.
I would, you know, we're talking about, it's essentially the same project, it's just using a little bit more materials on the, exit end, being able to stop where, you guys proposed, to the pool house sidewalk is essentially where that would come to an end. And then what I would suggest doing, because it's not part of this quote, is just using 2026 monies to bring that next leg through, just identifying something
Like
out
on
of
the
the
back.
Yeah, I don't think we need to encumber phase two with this year's
well,
budget,
just to
yeah.
bring it, yacht club
Yeah.
side down to boardwalk.
Mhm.
And that this would, this quote, or this project could be identified in what you see here with these quotes.
Mhm. And I know, council member brought up, concern about drainage with this, and I know you had a conversation with Tim Kubiak. and
I did,
he had his thoughts.
there was just a concern that there was some, you know, water that comes onto the grounds, and if it's happened in years past, obviously, where downhill, water all ends back up in the lake some way, somehow. And, I did consult Tim Kubiak on that, about, you know, is there any future stormwater? Do we have to do some stormwater? Is that going to be impactful with the trail here, as proposed? And I shared the map with him and the location, and he said, you know, we're pretty good on the drainage. Yes, we do get a little bit of water that sits behind the park office where we had to put the temporary drive-through with the gravel that's back there. But he didn't foresee with the way the build of this path would be with the 6 inches of compacted stone and the thickness of the asphalt, that if water runoff was coming around it, it shouldn't compromise a path of that nature. I think he quoted driveways and vehicular roadways are 10 inches of stone and more asphalt. So we're pretty beefed up on the path itself and being able to allow some of that drainage.
So the drainage concern was that it was gonna wash out underneath the asphalt? Is that what the concern was?
Well, actually, I don't know if that was a concern, just that was part of a problem with a previous path that had been here on the grounds years ago. And actually, your councilwoman is in this meeting if she would choose to speak on it. I don't want to speak for her.
If you stand on, I call it Summerfest Road, and you look up that angle, all that water has got to come this way.
Mhm.
Right by the pool, they put these little pipes in there. That water flushes down. On the other side of where the pool was, that water flushes down. When we bought the grounds, they actually thought in 1974 that they were going to put a fishing pond in this back behind the park building, because that's how much water generates through that building. Now, since then, we put fields in and, you know, soccer fields to kind of level it off. But if you go out there on a rainy season in April, you can't walk on those fields, they're full of water. So I'm concerned, like, is that gonna block the water from coming down naturally where it needs to do? Should we look about maybe engineering a swale or something around that walkway, that's all.
Mhm.
Because it is a concern, you can't sit at that sidewalk and look up and say, oh, there's not gonna be a water problem.
Mhm.
Because you're talking, I bet at least a 6-foot difference between, I mean, I'm not an engineer, but guarantee you, and then there's also water, I don't know where, I'm trying to figure out what you're saying about the path to the lake. Is it by the fence line by the yacht club?
Yeah,
That's all water over there.
It would follow that fence line.
Yeah.
The perimeter, that whole perimeter along
Right.
that whole north
Yeah.
side.
So that, there's water that pockets over there. And then the other thing to take into consideration is electric, the underground electric. Will there be, you know, like, do we need to put pipes through there so we can have access to it to repair it? Because that electric's used for, you know, any events down here, farmers market, Summerfest. So that's, you know, I just made a little note about the electric.
Okay.
And I just shared that map again with Josh of where the electric is.
Mhm.
Because it's 220, it's not like it's,
Yeah,
you know,
And of course, we would be doing locates regardless before this,
Mhm.
there is
Sure.
excavating happening. As we identify the projects, you know, we're just,
yeah, because how deep, I mean, you said it's only 6 inch?
they're gonna be, well, yeah, they're gonna be excavating about 6 inches.
So 6-inch base is
Well,
what?
actually, it would be more than that, it'd be more like 8 inches, because the asphalt would be about 2.5 inches, so 8.5 inches of excavation going on. To put the path in. Yeah, that should be.
That should be well.
And being mindful of where the water mains sit here too, as well,
Mhm.
and not trying to go over the water main.
Okay.
So where are we with this as far as the town board goes?
I tried to get some answers, I think Councilwoman Mary Joan is one of the only ones who was able to respond to the request for, you know, blessings, on the town grounds project. I had asked the town manager to reach out and see if he could get any more traction, just, you know, how was felt about it. I did have a conversation with our liaison, Julie, and she felt that it would be a good project here for the town. And I just, you know, explained that you were kind of uncomfortable making a decision if the council didn't have the blessing or the support of the project. And maybe Councilwoman Mary Jo could say if she's had conversations with others or felt, you know, if this was something that they would like to see move forward, because I can't speak on behalf of them. I did not have the opportunity to talk to all council members on this project.
Well, I guess one of the questions is that, you know, we continue to have the same issue every time we talk about the grounds, which is we can't do anything without a blessing from the council. That's correct, right?
correct.
Okay.
It was explained, you know, like, we're the landlords and you're the renters. Because the insurance falls under our umbrella, there's other things, you know, the contracting of outside agencies and all that. I can't speak for anyone else because I didn't talk to anyone else about it, I'm sorry,
Okay.
I mean, I know I responded because I had knowledge of it, but
And the town owns the
So we're at the mercy of the town council at this point.
If we were to encumber this, there's a risk, you know.
Yeah, 'cause what if they say no and then we're stuck? That money's gonna go away.
Mhm. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know how to go with that now.
Well, will Julie be here for a regular meeting?
She will be
And
here
maybe
for your
the
regular
town
meeting.
council president, so then we'll have three
Maybe
opinions
get
on it.
some other
Susan will be
opinions,
here for
yeah.
your regular meeting, so,
And will,
and maybe she will
will town
do that.
manager be here?
not for our regular.
Okay.
no.
And the town council president?
I'm unaware of his attendance
Yeah.
to that meeting.
I mean, I don't know, I'd like to see it move forward, and I think we can work with town council to make sure everyone's happy with it and alleviate any concerns on drainage and, you know, utilities and things.
Well, if we do encumber this money tonight, can we back off on it?
Can I unencumber?
Next month? I mean,
Wait, what's the drop dead date on us having
So
this?
really the drop dead date in order, because we have to identify projects now, we have to go into council meeting and transfer funds into the appropriate appropriations to encumber these. And, I mean, could we last minute change order in September if this doesn't go through? Yeah, we could.
In November?
Well, there is a
November.
town council meeting on, next week.
Next
Can it-
Tuesday.
Can it be put on the agenda for then?
Blank piece of paper.
I mean, I
They
don't know if
won't,
that's
they
an
won't
agenda
vote, they
item.
won't vote, they probably won't vote on, encumbrances till later, right?
Well,
Well,
Well, they can
You mean
at
the
least
project.
give
Yeah, they
their,
could- but they
they
can
could
talk
give their
about this,
opinion
yeah.
on the project, whether or not it's a viable project.
Sure.
possibly, or you might get some answers from, you know, others as, you know, time moves on in between there, but, I believe that the agenda's pretty firmed up for that meeting, and this is not one of those topics.
Well,
went
are you
through-
speaking? Is this when, the meeting when you, all the department heads speak?
No, we're the second meeting. But, you know, there is a memo out there, you are, you know, on behalf of the park board, that I executed last week. We're just trying to get, you know, some feelers on it. So, I mean, I don't wanna say, nothing is, it's not impossible, we would wanna make sure that the funds that we do transfer, because we should be doing transfers appropriations in the second meeting of October for the town council, that's where our transfers will happen, and then the encumbrances will happen that week as well, where we'll be able to pull the purchase orders and save the money over. So, that's how I foresee that happening.
What
I did
about a
have-
reminder memo to
Yeah,
them?
Yeah, we can,
To go, you know, that we'd really like their input, since we need their, you know, input on it, and that we could have others respond.
I think we should ask, Julie when she comes later to
She
kinda
might have
head-
had conversations.
Yeah, we should
Oh,
ask her
yeah.
to head that up
Yeah, so maybe we can figure that
in the
pathway out.
public meeting, but, I mean, you know, worst case scenario, we would have to, we could unencumber it in the November meeting. But I don't wanna miss that opportunity
No.
to encumber this and move the project forward. Cause this was, you know, this was one of the top, I don't know, what, 3 priorities
Yeah, one of
in
the top
master,
3.
in master planning. So, I think this is a project we need to bring to fruition.
Okay, I like it.
And obviously, looking at the quotes, it looks like St. John Paving has been more competitive on these quotes.
And we've worked with them on parking lot work, and we've been satisfied, right?
Still coating and striping, they've been great to work with.
Okay, so I'm gonna bypass walking past town grounds phase 2, because I don't think we're really looking at that right now. Okay, so number 5 is, Polk Street, Drive, like a driveway and parking. And again, we have 2 quotes, one from St. John Paving for $16,500 and one from Site Services for $28,910. So again, pretty big difference. And Mindy, if you just want to kind of summarize what this would entail for Polk Street, Potawatomi Park access.
Absolutely. So, as we acquired that parcel, the plan is to demo, and then we were talking about maybe we just put millings in for the opportunity to be able to pull a car in and park and get into the park space, just vehicular entrance opportunity. As we started talking about encumbrances, it was like, why don't we talk about what it would cost us to pave that? So I secured 2 quotes for you. It is essentially the width and length of the actual existing lot of the property, and being able to have an in and an out of that space, and about 4 parking spots we could probably manage for 4 cars, 4 vehicles. And I was very mindful to, when we quoted, to stay within the actual parcel of the house and not to bring any additional parking into the park space of Potawatomi. So,
Okay.
that's the
Yeah, I mean,
project.
I'm pretty cut and dry.
And that lot is 35 feet wide and
By 100?
by 100?
And would those be kind of like angled spots on each side, or are they going to be 4?
Well, both vendors kind of proposed different parking opportunities through it, so both quoters did, but not angled. You would not be able to do a turnaround if you came in.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So like more like a parallel parking opportunity,
Mhm.
2 at the back of the lot, because you're gonna have to be able to come in and cars can't be parked there, so
Mhm.
further into, toward the park space, there would be 2 there, was
Mhm.
proposed, and then as 2 on the opposite side, so like, but parallel parking, angle parking will not work
Yeah,
there.
okay.
So, but both estimators said we could definitely get 4 moderate-sized vehicles in here for 4 parking spots.
Okay.
So we probably have to, in the future, think about, getting rid of the fences back there so that park vehicles could get in there, or not at this time?
that fence that's currently on the Polk Street property, Gail, that's gonna come down in demo. We're clearing that whole lot.
Okay.
Yeah, it's,
So we have to find a way to keep people off from it.
I think that could be parking curbs, there, so
Parking
vehicles
blocks.
wouldn't drive parking
Yeah, we
lots.
definitely wouldn't want to have that, and I kind
People
of
would drive
imagine,
into the
I kind
park.
of imagine, well, you know, my head is to do some type of like nice little entrance at the back of the property.
Like Wahlberg?
Maybe similar to Wahlberg, where there's a couple posts in the rope and then
Right,
an entrance in.
Yeah, but that will be your vehicular
But that'll be-
access as well too.
Right.
So,
Mhm.
maybe next year we think about a gate goes there and we,
Mhm.
you know, a pedestrian and vehicle gate
Yeah,
at the back end of the property.
something, yeah, something.
they also
yeah.
make those removable ballards
Mhm.
that you can lock in place and take out. If the
Yep.
park guys wanna come, they pull one out and then they can drive in.
That would be good too.
Cause
We
I hate to put
option.
a fence, it's kinda nice to keep it open so people
Well, yeah,
can walk through.
I wanna keep some flexibility, because if there are future improvements that can be made at Potawatomi, we want parked vehicles to be able to get in there
Right.
and not come down from
Yeah.
the top.
Yeah.
Right.
Good.
Okay.
We're at number 6.
Yeah, so there were discussions about, seawall renovations at Bartlett Wahlberg. And I think from your research and discussions with, vendors, that's just kind of out of our reach for right now. But there's a quote from Midwest Seawall for $117,440, and a seawall estimate from Lakefront Solutions for $149,786. And I think there might be some grant opportunity when the grants open back up for land and water conservation.
This yeah, you're absolutely right. So this is a qualifying project under the Land and Water Conservation Fund, grant, seawall, so that's a 50-50 matching grant. I'm only saying that this could be an opportunity. No one ever guarantees that we would get that
Mhm.
grant. And, you know, we had no idea what we were getting ourselves into when we were gonna see, what we were gonna see as far as price points for replacement of that seawall and renovation. So it came in as a higher ticket item than maybe you guys were wanting to see. And so
Yeah.
it remained on here for conversation if,
And this was investigatory, because I know a board member brought this up, Greg, you brought this up, you know, a couple years ago, and so I think this is the first time we really even explored that. But,
Three.
yeah, it's pricey, but didn't these companies say that the seawall's not awful, or?
you're not getting any major erosion over there, so what is in place is actually doing what is necessary at this time. Is it pretty? Is it uniform? No, but it is doing what it needs to do for you.
And there's no hazards.
There was a spot that the guys need to backfill over there that popped up behind the seawall, but I mean,
That's it.
it's not a swimming area anyway,
No.
it's fishing, so.
I mean, we do get a lot of swimmers out there though in the summer, don't we? I've seen people out there swimming.
More on the chamber side.
Yeah, I think lately boats have been backing up to the
They
to
have-
Bartlett Wahlberg.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
people are
Letting
kind of
people out.
waiting
People are jumping
around,
in the
you
water
know,
and
yeah, they're kind of
doing
jumping
that.
in from their boats.
It's just, it's unsightly, and that was my biggest problem.
Yeah.
Because of the chunks of concrete in there, you know, it
Seems to
just
be
looks
a
like,
continuing
somebody took a bulldozer
theme.
and
Mhm.
just dumped all their crap.
Like
there.
the property here, the town route,
And
unsightly.
it just don't look good, you know?
There's
That's
a
pretty
major,
good.
there's some major cleanup that needs to happen.
But in our subcommittee meeting, we also discussed, you know, maybe we talked about improvements to the seawall at Potawatomi in the future, because that seemed to be, maybe there could be more benefit, you know, there.
With people having access to the water.
Yeah, I
Yep.
mean, you know, I think the company you met with, you mentioned that they said that there could be something done there, or DNR, who,
I also met with DNR,
Okay.
yes, and one of the companies out in that space. Actually, I mean, I'm no seawall expert or anything, but we are seeing more erosion at Potawatomi underneath of the lookout, losing substantial land there with the erosion, and if there was, hey, we want to save the land side of the park space and not Theater Road away, that is your major point of concern at this time. But the ability to put a sand area onto that space to create a beach area is doable as long as we create a border. And actually, that whole lakefront is sandy. It is a sandy lakefront. Of course, there is rock and boulder in there, and that can be removed by manpower, like a volunteer day of removing the rock on like the beach area to just create ease of access into the lake. But we would just have to make sure we have a border to not allow the land sand side into the lake, to let it go back into the lake. So, but you're very sandy. That whole shoreline is actually very sandy.
Yeah, there's boats there all
Yeah.
summer long, people swimming in that area.
So the concern with the erosion that's under the lookout, that also affects the road, right? That's where the road is.
Well, the concrete wall, yes, comes off of that. So it's more of like a retention wall. But we have about, geez, Josh, how many swipes of a mower is it for width-wise? That walking path along the concrete retaining wall,
You're at least 15 to 20 feet.
wide of walking path.
To the-
And we've
To
got
the
about
wall?
7 inches in certain areas that's ready to go into the lake. So that's the point of concern. Where do we,
And do we know what the options are for that area as far as seawall goes? Does it have to be a wall? Can it be a
There-
stone?
a lot of that is probably gonna be more dictated by the grant we go for it. They allow all types of seawalls, riprap, vinyl. I believe that this space is probably going to be, where you see a lot of rock already, that's doing its job and maybe doesn't need to be replaced, but the area under the concrete retaining wall would probably more than likely, for beefing up purposes, be a vinyl seawall. And then we would transition into sand.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be awesome to get a sand area down there, especially when we open up access to it.
I think that was on our master plan,
Yeah.
more access to the lake.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, well, yeah, so I guess at the end of the day, we investigated the seawall, and maybe that's not in our immediate budget capability right now. Okay, and then we have 7, and then 7B and 7C. This was discussion that also came up at least a year ago about or adding a swing bay at Robin's Nest Park. There's never been a swing bay there. And Mindy did some investigating on that and got some quotes. And I think it's more reasonable than what I thought it was going to be, based on what we've been seeing for park equipment estimates. But anyways, we have a swing bay that came in at $5,015, and the installation estimated at $1,800. A timber stake border at $3,015, and then playground surfacing wood chips at $4,200. So that total project is around 12 to 14,000, depending on its installation. But installation, we probably wouldn't even, we couldn't encumber or do anything with that right now. We would just,
That'll be next
that
year's
would be next year's budget, and we would get a
I
quote.
got a services, yeah,
Mhm.
installation.
But we could, certainly look to encumber,
So who does the border timber stakes?
That would be something that we could do, like the bordering of it and bringing in the mulch. I think
this is
that's
just
that would be
material
our
cost,
own-
right?
we would purchase the materials and then we would place those ourselves.
Okay.
It would just be the installation, you would want that to happen from a professional for guarantee of your playground manufacturer's guarantee. So, try not to do those in-house for installation.
And the wood chip cost, the parks already order this amount of wood chips for the other parks every year anyways, to kind of fill in.
Yep, every
So-
year we're ordering wood chips, they do biodegrade, but as we're finding, as we continue to grow and evolve here, that it's really the most reasonable surfacing for playground safety than the cost for the pour and play.
Yeah.
And it is considered ADA accessible, and we are using certified, pre-engineered wood chips. So, we have an estimate of, for, the semi-load, that we always get a semi-load every year for the other existing wood playgrounds to top off, and, we're kind of factoring another semi-load just for this project. So it was included for your consideration.
So this would be a great project for a dump trailer.
That's right. Good example.
So I had a question about the timbers. When you install them, you, make it almost impossible for somebody, in a wheelchair to get to the swings.
So the great thing about that play space is you have, pour and play tiles there, ultra tiles, and it's in, a concrete border is keeping those in place, at that play space. So if we create access from Robin's Nest parking into the first playground, you can very easily transition into your wood chips for your swing sets from that playground.
We could
From the
create,
existing tile
we could create
playground.
access from parking lot to the existing playground, which is on a pour and play tile, and then it's gonna be connected to the, and we looked at those tiles, or you pulled a quote for those tiles, and I think it came back at like over $100,000 for tiles.
Not
Just for the-
installed.
Just, not installed, just for the swing bay area, not even, that's just smaller area.
I believe
mean,
pour
that
and
was-
play is cheaper than
Pour and
that.
play would've been cheaper, yeah.
Mhm.
And I think at one time over here that, under the swings, it was just wood chips. They didn't have to, get up on timbers where, even a 2-year-old or 3-year-old going for the swing might have a difficulty. They're like 8x8 timbers.
Some of them are shorter or taller depending on the property around it. So we have some that are not as tall in places that are more level, and then if we have a transition in elevation, then we have a taller timber. So that just all depends on your space, and which park you're referring to. But that is one of the things that we did talk about in our master planning, is creating accessibility to our playgrounds. And that would be like accessible routes into them and transition into them, so.
Well, even if you had the timber border, I mean, you could still leave an opening where the entrance is, right? Because the only thing that's there for is to keep the chips from going out all over the property. So one little opening.
Yeah, I think there's options there. If we
Yeah.
wanted, have a
Yeah, you
simple
could do a
solution of leaving an
transition ramp,
opening,
too.
or we can, or a ramp, yeah, or,
Transition.
I mean, it's the only cost-effective way to keep the playgrounds in good condition and
yeah,
keep
we
them
need
looking
some
nice
type of
and,
border, yeah.
I was over at Lemon Lake Park just, looking around about how they do it, and they actually, when they're installing their equipment, they're not installing them flush with the property. They're actually, digging in a bit, creating more of like a bowl, but you have to have proper drainage for this, and this is probably why it wasn't the way we developed here years ago. It was easier just to put a border around and put your proper height of surfacing in there. But what they do is they kind of create a bowl for surfacing, and they do a concrete border and a concrete ramp into those spaces. And the brand new beautiful playground over at Lemon Lake is all engineered wood chips. They're not using, at that park space, they're not using the pour and play. So we could always look at concrete borders and concrete entries maybe as we evolve and build new versus these 4-inch or 6-inch tall border timbers around our park spaces.
I think the other thing is they also keep the equipment up higher after it's dug out, and they put in like 12 inches of chips.
There's a certain standard for a certain fall height, so yes, those have to be followed.
All right.
So basically, we all like that idea.
Yeah.
I like this,
I-
yeah, I mean,
Greg, you-
We've been shooting for it for years, but
I mean, I'm talking to people in Robin's Nest, they always talk about
Yeah.
there's no swing set at the park, I mean,
Yeah.
Oh, this is a 4-swing bay, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's 2
I
regular,
confused myself.
one toddler, and 1 ADA, or?
One side would be your belt swings,
Mhm.
2 belt swings, and the other side would be a toddler and ADA swing.
Okay. Number 8, there was discussions of concrete cornhole sets, and possibly encumbering 2 of these. Park space, kind of TBD at this point, but those 2 sets come in at $3,396. We kind of, we said kind of Kiwanis and maybe somewhere else, or 2 at Kiwanis?
Or maybe 2 at Kiwanis, you know.
Well, again, this is kind of the way I looked at the trailers too, is, we've got some money to spend. These are $3,000 for 2 sets. Why aren't we just buying 4 sets and putting them in 2 locations?
Yeah.
It's $3,000.
Mhm.
It's not a seawall,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Makes
and it
sense.
just adds amenities to more places.
I mean, what if I don't know if you guys were interested at all in putting a set at Wahlberg, or if you wanted to put them in a different park, or,
Mhm.
Wahlberg's not real big.
Yeah, realistically, I think I would stay away from Wahlberg, just because,
Same here.
just to leave open space for it, but, like Linsway Park or Hanover
Yeah,
Park.
plenty of
what's
room
it?
there.
I see a lot of traffic and gathering at your clubhouse facility, which
Mhm.
they're always
Yeah.
looking for something to do
That would be
outside.
very
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
renting this Lions Den
Yeah.
very often now that the remodel has happened,
Mhm.
and you just installed a rentable facility over at Kiwanis, and so that might be an amenity. for
Definitely
folks who
Kiwanis.
rent over there.
Kiwanis
Yeah.
was a given, right?
Yeah, Kiwanis, we
Yeah.
have
For
it.
2 sets.
Mhm.
Yeah, so
But
I
maybe we
quoted
could
you
look
at
at
2,
another,
but
yeah.
you could just say, Mindy, move forward with.
I like the idea of having
four
them
sets.
near rentable spaces.
Sure, yeah,
Because
yeah.
it's an amenity. I mean, if you go to other,
No, I think that's a
if you go to
great.
other municipalities that rent their, they have some kind of amenities.
So I guess the question would be potentially, would it be like the clubhouse, or would it be, you said out here, Lions Den, right?
I
Is
mean,
there
the
room
Lions
for
Den
it?
is rented all the time, that would be nice to have
Mhm.
something.
Is there
even
space
on-
for them here?
What's that?
Is there space, a good space to put them here?
I'm not really sure.
Okay.
I think we've probably, I would feel okay if we encumbered 4 sets,
Yes.
and then
figure
that
it out
second
later?
set, the second 2, we kind of just decide,
Good.
where those are placed, but definitely near a rentable, rental space makes sense. Okay. Number 9, that's just, the playground wood chips that would be purchased next year anyways for $4,200. So that would be in addition to the wood chips for Robin's Nest, swing bays. I don't think there's much else to say there. Number 10, addition to community garden, for $1,784.
This is the same exact garden kit that is currently on site. The volunteers that have taken care of this garden said, oh my gosh, can we expand and make this even bigger next year? And so, they got their taste of the gardening, and so we could really do 2 beds. And so it was put on here as a consideration for an expansion of the current community garden space.
I'm not a fan. It just doesn't fit in this space, and it's really not what a community garden is anyway, and having a bunch of them all hooked together, I'd like to see the green space back myself.
Are you looking more for like a community garden plot, like that they get little plots versus a accessible,
I didn't have another alternative,
okay, or another space that you would recommend?
no.
So the kit basically is the small fence, right?
The kit is the garden box. They are
Elevated.
for
Handicapped.
handicapped accessible. I know that besides a lot of sunflowers and a lot of tomatoes and a few other things that grew, that project brought 4 people in the community together and created a friendship, and that's what happened out there. So the opportunity to see it grow, and the market always had visitors of it, and families and kids walking up to it to see what was growing in it. So it was just a initiative to bring the community together, and that's what we tried. So we started small with the idea that if it did pretty good, we would think about expanding, and so I threw it in there for opportunity to talk about.
Well, I think there's no question that we love the idea. I think it's the location that we especially, at least I especially dislike. But again, I think that whole area should be bulldozed, so that's not gonna happen anytime soon.
I mean, the dirt would have to be removed, but those kids could be moved in the future if we identify a better space with a water source that's accessible. You know, it could be moved with a little bit of work. It's not permanently anchored into the ground or concreted in. It's sitting on a brick patio, so.
And that was the primary reason for putting it there in the first place, was there was water accessibility, and we weren't really sure if there was gonna be people to tend to it consistently. So
Well,
they
yeah,
had
we
to-
had to see if our volunteer base was really going to do as they had stepped up to do, and they did. They cared for it and grew. But it was accessibility, the opportunity for the most frequent park space for others to see and get involved or get interested in. So the exposure to that and the, as much daylight as, you know, so much they could get on it, and water. So.
Well, I like the way that it was prepared. You guys put the pavers in, and it looks really nice over there to me. And it would be kind of difficult to take an amenity away from the town by moving that or just getting rid of it. I personally think that we should I would add even more than one.
Well, that's what we'll vote on in the next meeting, or in the public meeting, so.
I guess one of my questions, though, is, you said there's 4 people that, you know,
Consistently.
maintained it. You know, is there much of a demand beyond that? I mean, if we had a lot of people saying, hey, we need some more space here, I'd feel a lot, more comfortable saying, yeah, let's do it.
I mean, I don't have a group of volunteers or additionals coming to the office and saying, how do I get involved? I'd like to do this. Let's just say this was kind of done as a test opportunity, to see if we could get the interest and get the volunteers, and, the 4 that were out there did a beautiful job, and,
It seems to me that this is more of a location argument rather than maybe necessarily of money.
No, it's nothing to do with money.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
I mean.
And it's not even, it's partially location, it's 50% location, and for me, it's 50% how many people are gonna benefit from it. Because if we can spend that money
Mhm.
where 50 people are gonna be able to do something versus 4,
Mhm.
if
That's
you
why-
said, hey, there's 10 people that have been coming to me saying, hey, can we expand this space? I'd say, yeah, all day long. And I don't even care about the location, because quite frankly, we're tenants. So,
I think you're looking at it from all angles, and I can appreciate the report
Yeah,
on
so I
it.
mean, but I guess the point I was getting at is that the dollar amount that's there, this is something we could do next year if we wanted to do it, or we could do it later, or do
you mean we can
something
just
else.
pull it out of the budget, we don't have to
We don't have to,
Right.
we don't have to worry about encumbering. I mean, we're getting down to, at the bottom of this list, we're getting down to some low dollar
Yeah.
items that, to fill out the budget for the remainder of the year is more for planning purposes and encumbrances, but this.
Well, I gotta tell you, I'd rather
you know,
see you buy 2 more,
I wanna be, I wanna be.
That's.
well, 1 more set, because
Yeah,
they
yeah.
pay $300
Yeah,
for 2, right?
yeah.
So that's 1
Yeah,
set.
mhm.
It's another set of,
Yeah.
Well, I'd also thought about Kiwanis Park for a community garden, because you have a lot of people in and out of there, and there's water there for it. It doesn't create the issues that this one did as far as watering and stuff.
that's,
I think
I
those
didn't really
people-
think about it, but that would not be a bad location, because isn't there quite a bit of property that we're not using there?
There's a lot.
Mhm.
You do have green space.
There's a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. But I do want to remind you that when that park was being installed, there was conversations of a pickleball or basketball court in the future there, along with shelters. So, not that a community garden wouldn't fit into there, but some bigger buildings for that open space was being considered, and we just haven't identified that, or.
I mean, behind the playground and behind the shelter, there's a
There's
ton of
back
space.
there.
You do have a lot of things.
So I think there's room for pickleball, basketball, community garden. That's probably the greatest space with potential that we probably have, really.
Mhm. Yep.
The thing is, we're relocatable.
And there's
That's
great
insane.
parking
Yeah, we're
there,
public.
you know, so there's plenty of capacity for people to park.
Mhm.
They are relocatable, as Mindy said, so whether we have them here or there, if we find a better spot for Merit, we can move them. If you put them over there and we need to move them, we can move them. I think for this price, we're getting a lot of bang for our buck, you know, with these community gardens. I think some people do like them.
Yeah, I don't know if it, I just know a lot of people who have visited the grounds have made nice comments about it.
That's
It's
what I'm
not
talking
just the
about.
4 people who are doing the actual gardening, it is.
It looks nice. Maybe it's in the wrong spot, but it looks nice.
And I would just have to ensure that wherever we do install the next garden or move a garden, that I have accessibility by, ADA accessibility to that garden.
Correct.
So we'd have to talk about sidewalk entrances. But it's still doable. It's still doable, anyway.
Well, just for the record, I'm not against it.
Mhm.
Those were just my concerns.
Okay. And
If
then.
Greg really wants it, I'm with Greg.
I think it's kind of, just a nice little-
No, I like it, I like the.
For 1,200, 1,700 bucks,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, well, again, if, you know, that's a pet project, I don't have a problem supporting it, so.
Oh, thank you. All right.
Okay, and then some of the other things on this list, you know, tools, that I'm not even gonna go over, that's just, it's under, you know, $2,500 and some necessary tools to update. Bolts and electric bin, again, $1,000 of things. Hanover striping, $2,800, and this is just to restripe the Hanover parking lot.
Is there any seal coating or anything needed over there?
I mean, yeah, probably, but that's a pretty big space we were really more concerned about being able to identify those parts, which they're very faded. And I went into that space while softball was going on in baseball, and it's like people don't even know where to park because there's just a faint line. So I think the more pressing issue was the stripes, not the seal coating at this time. But, I mean, yes, if we identify larger projects and we want to seal coat,
And
got a
there's,
couple spaces.
there's one, handicapped accessible, it's at the very west side of the parking lot, but there should be 2 based on 35 parking spaces. And they should be together at the main entrance of that park, with, van accessibility, so.
And I did ask during that quote, because we have such congestion and parking issues over there, if there was any way that either of the 2 quoters could reconfigure the parking just to accommodate more vehicles and we could park smarter over there. And they said what we have currently is actually the best layout for us, so.
And then
I was
maybe,
trying to
maybe
get a couple more
like Gail
cars in there.
mentioned, just move the ADA, or
Just
the
add an
handicap
ADA.
spots.
Put 'em in the
Yeah,
right
when it
spot.
comes to striping, we could, exactly what we did over at Bartlett is that we brought another handicapped, space into Bartlett and they shared the, transition pad, so.
Good, easy, yes, good idea.
Okay. Number 14 is, arborvitae gazebo town grounds, did I pronounce that? I don't know if I've ever actually
You got it.
said that word, I've read it, but I haven't said it.
You got
it. Okay, and that's, that was $2,600, and that's, to the west of the gazebo, behind the gazebo?
Yes,
I'm sorry, to the
Just
north
on
of
the-
the...
on the
yeah,
fence line
the north
there,
side of the gazebo, yeah.
just to kind of create a little bit more of an intimate setting, for those who rent the space. So, and this
Kind of like
is
a
what.
separate partition between the fence and the...
No, we just go along the fence line.
Okay, oh, along the
Yeah,
fence
from
line,
the
okay.
boardwalk to the existing tree there, and just fill that in nicely as a screen for a little bit more of an intimate opportunity for a wedding ceremony or something over there.
Okay. And then something that, the last item, number 15, this is something that, Mindy actually sent us a quote on this a while back, and Greg and I revisited, you know, this in our subcommittee meeting. this was a gazebo at was of Cedar Creek, and it's something that we discussed a while back, that the residents there possibly benefit from a, you know, gazebo, small shelter, and it would be the same design type as the one out here.
Same, we were put in from the
Same thing.
same contractor who completed the one here on top ground. So metal roof structure, 17 foot wide, which is a little bit smaller than the one that's currently here on the ground, with a 1.5 foot overhang. And so yeah, same design, same opportunity.
Well, I thought that they, wanted a shelter there to have their, HOA meetings in during, you know, during the months. They're having them in, one of the members' garage, and they said they'd ask for a shelter so they could have their meetings there. Put, you know, 3 picnic tables, 4 picnic tables under the shelter and have their meetings there. And then the gazebo, that's pretty small to get a lot of people in there, and you don't have the seating for it, so.
Correct. You're
Yeah.
correct, and when I was approached by that area, when I first got here, they were upset that the playground had went in, because all they were asking for and coming to meetings was for a gazebo, the playground was there. So we have some conflicting citizens that we're talking to about maybe wants or needs over there, but I've only heard gazebo, and that's why.
Is this quote, the $55,970, is this installation and, the kit?
It's not a
total?
kit, it's a
Oh,
custom
it's just
build.
a custom,
It's a custom
okay.
build with concrete, but we would still have to consider sidewalk accessibility to it from the major main
yeah,
sidewalk.
so I mean, if we went shelter route, I mean, we're talking, you know, possibly 80 to 100,000.
We could go a smaller shelter,
Yeah.
that would be maybe 3 picnic tables,
Mhm.
you know, but, I mean, just throwing a roundabout number out there, you're more like an $80,000 build on a smaller shelter, so.
Well,
You know-
this one out here has 6 picnic tables in there, 2 rows of them lined up, and they're all,
Lions Den.
yeah, and
Yeah.
they're all next to each other. Then it wouldn't have to be that big, but,
For that space, yeah.
And that's the bigger than, but that Lions Den's bigger than the ones that we, like at
Well,
Bartlett
Installed,
Wahlberg,
yeah.
yeah.
So the shelters that we put up before, I know, obviously we bought kits and there's a little architecture to those kits, but did we ever pursue stick building something?
Yeah,
And where was the,
it was off the wall.
Kit.
really?
Yeah, mhm. Yeah.
the kit.
Like, not the kit, no, the custom build,
Yeah.
yeah, custom build shelters, yeah.
I
Mhm.
cannot believe
Mhm. We
that
did,
we can't get $40,000 worth of material,
mhm.
because that's really what the kit is the material, right?
Yeah, I think it's just the all-encompassing project of having someone, you know,
Design
design
it.
it and build it, and, yeah, it was off the wall. Which is why we pivoted and went to the kits.
Well, I would hope we could encumber some money for 15, even if we have to get a small pavilion type thing. I mean, the gazebo, yeah, it sounds like a great idea. It would look nice, but is it gonna do what they want?
Function, yeah. And you
You
know
know.
that kit over at Kiwanis, it was like 47,000, which is, you know,
Plus the,
plus
The-
the concrete.
the concrete
Yeah.
Well, that,
installation of it.
yeah, the installation was like another
50.
40, almost 50.
But part of it, wasn't there electric in those too as well? And
They
this
did
one
have
wouldn't
electric.
have,
Yeah, I don't know how much that cost us in now, scheme of things, you know, I'd have to go back to that quote.
I think that was
I
minimal,
mean,
the
I
electric
think you
was
could
minimal.
do a smaller shelter, maybe 4 picnic tables. It's not a very large open space in that
No.
park space. I think that maybe I can give a call to the HOA president just to get a feeler if they're looking at gazebo or not. But you don't have a quote for a shelter here for encumbrances. You have a quote for a gazebo here.
You know,
Mhm.
So you won't be able
structure,
to save the money in this, our meeting if you vote on it, because you don't have a quote.
well,
Everything has to have a quote.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't wanna just put the money out the door. That's not.
if that's not what they want.
Mhm.
Right.
just, can we encumber it and then again, after you speak with them over there?
We can't tweak it, get an estimate.
Maybe what we could do in this moment of this point of concern, I maybe try to find a workaround, is that you say, we would like to encumber $60,000 toward a shelter kit, for Woods of Cedar Creek. And
Okay.
then I get a quote for you and match it to what you guys do, like a not to exceed, when you vote on it, and then I do it that way. And then I match the quote to what you asked me not to exceed in this meeting.
So you'll be moving the word gazebo out.
Well, I would have to firmly have a quote of a gazebo of a certain spec
Okay,
and installation quote on it for us to be able to move those monies into next year.
Or whatever the structure is.
Whatever structure
And we
you're saying.
could technically, if that works, in our public meeting, we could say we, want to encumber funds not to exceed 60,000 for the purchase of a shelter kit and installation. You'll get the quotes. Next year, if the
We can add
quotes,
money
if it's
to it.
more,
We
we can
can
come
just-
out of next year's
You
budget.
fill-
Okay, I love it.
I mean,
That's
if
a
it
great
comes out to
idea.
be 70,000 and,
good.
for both.
I think.
That way we have a chance to have conversations with the people we're gonna impact over there.
Mhm.
Correct. Okay, good. Nice.
How many houses are in that development?
I'm not sure. I do know it is retired,
Yeah, they're all retired, mostly Chicago.
But I really do believe that you could go a little bit smaller than what you have at Bartlett.
Definitely
Maybe
smaller,
not as fancy
Yeah.
at Bartlett. 4 picnic tables would be adequate. I mean, they might want to picnic with their families in that space. Maybe it's not enough for a meeting opportunity, but,
Yeah.
that, a structure in that would be nice in that area.
Nice.
Either type of structure, I would agree, would be nice for them.
Very nice community over there, bud.
They took really good care of the place.
Really taken care of. It's
I'm
very
gonna be the
nice.
devil's advocate here, sorry.
Fine.
I again have a really tough time spending that kind of money in such a limited area where there's not gonna be a lot of people going in there to use the amenity that we're spending all that money on. I would rather see it in a bigger neighborhood where we know it's gonna get a lot of action from a lot of people. It's the biggest bang for the buck.
Okay,
No offense to the people in that community. If we had an unlimited budget,
Mhm.
I would love to see, something in every single, park that we have. But at the
Well, I
end of the day,
I guess the thing is, we tackled that with Bartlett, Wahlberg, and Kiwanis. So now we're kind of down to neighborhood, most of the rest of the parks are neighborhood parks.
again, but I'm looking at how big is the neighborhood.
Yeah,
It's not a
yeah.
Robin's Nest,
Mhm,
it's
yeah.
not a,
Yeah.
what's the one out there, way out on Parish?
Lisway is probably
Lindsway's a huge neighborhood.
probably a good space to make more bang for your buck over there, so.
okay.
I mean, so, okay, if we wanted to encumber another shelter, we don't have to pick we don't have
Location.
to pick the location.
I will need to know the location from you guys for coding purposes, because there's always, of course, excavating involved
Yeah.
in the space that you would need.
Yeah.
Well, you know what,
So-
though, that can be pretty generic as well, and if they have to tweak it, we can make up the difference. We can get a
Mhm.
generic excavation.
For the purposes of being accurate, yeah, we would need to pick the location to have the quote be as accurate as possible. But if there are changes, then we can come out of
Maybe you
next
guys
year's.
will agree on a park space when you vote on it.
I'm in.
So I mean, okay, so
I mean, I
where
guess-
would you, where would you prefer, or anyone from the board? I mean,
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just thinking even, I got no skin in the game, I don't have a park in my neighborhood, but, I'm looking just strictly at how many people are gonna visit it. And this particular pavilion that we're talking about is gonna have their annual meeting or whatever, and then there's probably gonna be throughout the summer, a handful of people, using it for this and that. I don't think it's gonna get the kind of, use that you would get in a park that we have that sees a lot of children and a lot of activity. For parents to sit under the pavilion and watch the kids on the thing, and they can be in the shade, or, grandparents that take their kids there. That's just what I'm thinking. Now, if you guys said, hey, we've talked about this for a long time, we've talked about this particular location, we kind of like this location, you know, I'm not against that. I'm just
We
thinking.
talked about Lynn's Way needing shade. This
Yes.
is why
I
we
think-
keep bringing trees
Well,
into
so
that
I
space.
think we talked about with Cedar Creek, but also, it's not that we will never do anything there, but for the purposes of maybe encumbering funds from this year to next year, I think we know we can always add another, a shelter is gonna make a bigger impact some way, like you
Well,
mentioned.
I would say that Lindsley would need a bigger one anyway. You know, four-table shelter isn't gonna do much for them. That community's large. You know, that, they have 2 playgrounds there, right? That's Lindsley. Yeah, it's a big, like you say, very big. And if we're talking about this little 60,000 one, it's gonna be underkill for them. I know, I'm in.
No, yeah,
Well, you know what I mean, even if you guys said because of the budget limitation, you know, and the fact that we could put in a smaller one, the smaller one would fit that area better, but next year, we
We'll
could
move on to
maybe
the
try
bigger
and,
one.
try and fit a bigger one into the budget.
I think we could do the opposite of what you just said. I think we can encumber for the bigger shelter right now,
Really?
and next year, kind of work with Woods Cedar Creek and see what actually makes sense, you know, for that community.
No, I like it.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
You know, give us time to actually work with them, because we know if we put a shelter in Lynn's Way, it's gonna be used as,
You
you know,
better
everyone's
believe
gonna
it.
use it as a shelter.
See, you came up with a good idea there. I like that.
But I think it would make more sense to do that this year, and then work on Woods Cedar Creek next year.
We were kind of looking $80,000 to $100,000 for shelters all in without sidewalk entries into them for either. So there's kind of an idea of cost there. So maybe we're not to exceed, or, and yes, if we decide to go bigger than what we currently have or got priced out last year, then, you know, we always can throw next year's budget towards that.
Okay.
It's an
So we
opportunity
do, we
save
do need to
chunk
be
change for
careful
our
of
project.
how much is left in this year's budget of what we're gonna spend and what, so, okay, it's, all right, it's already added up for me. So we're at 206,000, and with all, you know, end of year purchases and next year encumbrances based on this list, and really, where do we have to, I mean, what's the max number to leave cushion for?
Was it like 232 or something?
228, I was kind of in that wheelhouse of 228. I mean, some of this, if you guys choose, we're not going to encumber, we're just gonna buy at the end of the year, but this was just the monies that were freed up, that were going to revolving monthly bills or projects that are already outlined for the remainder of the year or purchases. This is what sits and remains in your 200, 300, and 400 line items, as I cannot encumber our 100 line items.
So everything at the bottom of the list is purchase type stuff from,
Well, I mean, I
from
think your arbor.
tools down to the bottom, basically, to the last one.
I think your 11, 12, and 13 on this list is most definitely a buy this year. I just, as I was looking at monies and you guys having the opportunity to à la carte what you want to do for projects, I wanted to give you some low-end things too to throw at it. You might have just picked 2 large projects or one large and 5 small projects. So it was just the opportunity. That's why those lower prices are in here. So, you know, but those are things that could just be bought this year. I just wanted to give you an option at something smaller, and I have not.
But realistically, to stay within budget, you know, we don't wanna try and encumber more and then, you know, we earmark money and then we don't have enough to finish out the year if there's anything unexpected comes up. So,
Absolutely.
you know, I don't think we can sit here and say we wanna encumber up, you know, not to exceed $80,000 for a new gazebo, or
No.
shelter.
Probably
We'd
75.
have to say 70 to 75
Yeah,
to be
exactly.
safe, you know,
That's
and
why
then.
kind of like I guess I felt those subcommittees out, I kind of earmarked, like, this is what everybody was seeming majority, you know, wanting. And then I went and created that other column, just so you guys had a quick add up of like, if we chose this, and we chose this, and we chose this is where we sit. And so, yes, that last column is only bringing you to 206, and I'm confident that we could find projects up to 228 and be able to finish the budget year out. So that would be your number.
And I think this clears up, you know, the issue with the gazebo versus the shelter, because now you can go to them and say, hey, listen, we're looking at next year,
And we can start that,
we can start.
Love
They
to
could
start
quote
the
me something
process.
for 90,000, I know we have 75 to move into next year with.
Good.
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
Okay.
okay. Okay, so that gets us through, all of that. Now, for just logistical purposes, when we want to take action on this, am I taking a vote on every line item, or can we do this a little bit more efficiently? I mean, I can, you know, this is just for the packet, so I can write down some of the changes that we talked about.
I
don't know if
think that
necessarily
as you
wanna-
make the vote, you should identify the
I don't-
project. So project 1, enclosed trailer, 10,000. Project
Okay.
2,
So we're gonna have to go through them one by one.
right, but one motion.
One motion, but we have to
Oh.
identify everything, so really the only
Right,
thing
and
that
then not
we're,
to exceed on the
Mhm.
15th line item, if that's.
so the only thing that we're changing is number 15,
Yeah,
um,
and if you're gonna,
shelter,
you know, like maybe you keep 11, 12, and 13 out and just say, well, 13 would have to be encumbered, so it would be 11 and 12, like, just go buy those this year, Mindy.
How about 14? Do we have to encumber that?
That is a spring planting, that is not
Oh,
a fall
I thought they were
planting.
fall plants.
okay, so
No,
11,
these are gonna be a spring.
11, 12,
Okay.
13, we're not talking about that in public meeting, no matter what, because it's not encumbrances.
It's just go buy them.
But I'm not even gonna
13's
bring
a
them up.
stripe,
Yeah.
Mhm.
11,
13 is a striping, and it would have to be an encumbrance because it's a
Right.
spring
Oh,
striping.
okay, so just 11 and 12.
Yes.
I just want to talk about logistical things for the public meeting, so I'm not, you know, making us vote on each.
No 15 votes on,
Yeah. But yeah, so what I'd like to do then, when we get to public meeting is, we'll take it as one motion, but I'm gonna go through each one, and then if there's any issues with any of them, then that'll be the time to make adjustments. Okay. All right, I mean, anything else that we wanted, we got, I'd like to give us at least 5 minutes between meetings, so the next 10 minutes, is there anything else that the board wants to discuss before public meeting? We've kind of, you know, it's a work session, so we're free to discuss whatever we want here, just as long as we don't take action.
hold on, there was something in my brain that's gone. My brain.
Otherwise, we'll take a longer break, but
was there anything to discuss about?
is there anything else that you want to, Mindy, that you want to give us more background on before we get to public meeting that's on the agenda?
No, we've been in such communication
Yeah.
about all the things that are coming before us. I think encumbrances has just been the ever-moving target and a lot for us to identify. But that's all we put on for our work session was to talk about encumbrances anyway. So I don't know if it's good faith to talk about anything.
No,
else.
we'll talk about it in public meeting, and, you know, I think this was good because last year this snuck up on us, and, you know, I don't know if we did the best job of explaining in public of what everything was being encumbered, so that's why we wanted to have the opportunity to do this work session and then list them all in public meeting.
So, if the phase 1 walking path fails for some reason, I don't think it will, and I think it's a great addition to this park, you know? Of course it is. I don't see why the town council would not accept it, but if they do, then you're gonna have that $80,000 price sitting there that we're not gonna use. So,
Not necessarily.
maybe or we can encumber that into another pavilion. You know, maybe we could.
You guys
put it
want to
into-
do an option, if this doesn't move forward, we'd like to see the gazebo put at Woods and Cedar Creek. for
Something like that,
55.
just 'cause
Like,
I hate
you
to
could put
see
a
that money
safety
gone.
net in play,
Yeah,
just in case if encumbrance of 80,000 for the walking path isn't able to move forward and we don't.
Can we identify shelter for Woods and Cedar Creek,
You could say shelter for Woods,
And-
you could
and-
say, we'd like to see a shelter
and that could be gazebo or shelter?
it's all the same.
I would just,
It's a shelter.
it'd be nice to have a safety net, that way you don't have to go back to your next meeting, you've
I
identified
think
the project.
shelter's generic, right?
Yeah, sure, shelter is anything you're going underneath.
I just
As long
have
as
to
you
get the
get the
quote to
quote to
match,
match it before it's actually encumbered.
because I have to transfer the funds.
Mhm. And the
then I have
intent-
to do
And the
the,
intent of the purchase
But hopefully
is
we'll
the
get an
same.
answer quickly and,
yeah,
This will
I,
be-
that's a great idea. Why not? I'll plan B. So I have direction, and everybody knows what we're trying to finish for next year.
But priority would be walking path phase one.
yes, that's
Yeah.
what we want. God, that would be such a great addition. Think about it, people would use that, you know?
The walking path?
Yes.
Yeah, oh yeah.
They would definitely use it.
Mhm.
Nice.
Okay. All right.
You do have this option too. So we're looking at some proposals for park impact fee, ordinance for the studies for the recreation impact fee. Traditionally, that has come from your park impact fees, but you're more than welcome to pay for it out of your general budget. If you're like, if we can't get the walking path, we wanna pay for this out of there. I mean,
Mhm.
traditionally, you are using your park impact fees to help with the park impact fee study and ordinance. But it could always be paid from the
So,
general.
yeah, so I mean, technically, we could say, we wanna encumber up to 20,000 for park impact fee study and 60,000 for shelter at Woods Cedar Creek as a plan B.
If you wanted
If we
to
want-
not use your park
hypothetically,
impact fees
to
for
not
your
use
park
park
impact
impact
fee
fees.
study.
Hypothetically.
Okay,
Yeah, just something.
this would not be the proper time to ask about updates on the park impact. Dealings with the attorney at this point.
You have proposals before you for our
I
next step.
read that, yeah,
Yeah.
I did read it, so that's sad. But,
Oh, well, I think we have, your proposals are, can we talk on that in another meeting?
yeah,
Yeah.
I
It's an
think we
agenda
should
item, and
wait.
I can maybe give a little bit more of an update.
Yeah, 'cause it seems to be better now than it was.
I think EOC, yes, we have
Yes.
consideration.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Okay.
Between your two proposals, they're a little different from each other.
Okay, well, we're gonna take a 10-minute break before public meeting.
Okay.
Can I
Oh,
ask
here.
a question before we can, stop here?
Is there,
back
yeah,
to-
go ahead.
Sorry, back to the,
Oh.
walking path,
Mhm.
why does the park department have to pay for the whole thing if it's on town grounds property? Couldn't it be a joint budget, use two different budget line items, town council budget?
It could, but I don't know if they have the budget to spare for.
Is that an option that you could bring up, though, is what I'm saying?
It could be, but I think we have the budget to be able to bring that project to fruition without, hurting other departments. I'm sorry, should we do public comment for a work
Well,
session?
it was on the agenda, but
Oh,
on the one agenda that was online, it said public comment.
okay, all right, well, I'll open up for,
I didn't see that.
I'll open up for public comment.
I just yelled from back here. so-
Yeah, that's fine, go ahead.
Of course, go
Okay,
for it.
For Potawatomi Park, are you looking at reclaiming some of that property that we lost, do you think? Could that be in your, in your minds to think about, some of that land washed away, so maybe put that in your proposal to DNR that you want to reclaim some of that property?
We will up to six
Okay,
inches.
I just,
Yeah.
yeah. And then, for the park, the, Polk Street parking lot, there'll be an ADA parking spot, right?
That would have to be part of it.
Okay, and then, how are they getting across into the park? Are you gonna, do a bridge or something, or?
We have that storm drain that kind of sits right at the end of that
Yeah.
property, which we need to get cleaned up.
Because I want to share with you that, there was a meeting that another board and commission discussed something and didn't share it with you. And I think, it needs to be shared too, that is one of the town major drain projects. So, just to keep you in mind, because I think sometimes we talk in our units and we don't
Mhm.
consider, there's a
Overall.
bigger picture to it. Oh, there was one other question, I'm so sorry. Oh, the bench out here in this playground, could that be replaced? Have you seen that thing?
It could, and we're just,
I'm just saying,
yeah,
You got some money, it's looking bad.
that guy is, that playground's probably not gonna be there much longer. It's aged out, it's over 30 years old, we had the inspector out, and, I also, had conversations with the, company that it was purchased from. We can't even buy a replacement part for that playground, they don't make those square playgrounds, post playgrounds anymore. So I think if I have to install a bench and put concrete out there and the playground's gonna come down in 6 months, maybe we just remove the bench that's kinda bad and put a picnic table there for the interim.
There you go.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Well, that's,
Yeah.
That's a good option.
yeah, very good idea.
Okay. Any other public comment for work session? Public comment for work session's closed. Work session is adjourned. We'll reconvene at 5:30 for public meeting.
You got 7 minutes.